for a space Uber? I'm kind of lost out here. Can anybody just, give me a...
It's Kenobin time.
Oh, God. Oh.
Subscribe to Next to Grade on YouTube. You won't regret it.
Okay. So, you all knew that we would have to talk about this someday, and I've been putting it off because I just don't know how to feel about this series. Obiwan Kenobi was a series that I was looking forward to for forever, honestly. I believe it was announced about the same time that Mandalorian Season 1 was announced, and it was said that Deborah Chow, the director of Episode 3 of Season 1 of The Mandalorian, which is my favorite episode of all time, is going to be directing every single episode of Obiwan Kenobi, and I was ecstatic. Sadly, it wouldn't be written by Deborah Chow, and I feel like if the series was written by Deborah Chow, it would have been an infinitely better series. But this series genuinely feels dry to me. Haha. Funny desert pun. It's so bad. Why? What? Oh, it's not bad. Well, I can't wrap my mind around this series. There are some... Alright. I'm all over the place. But let's just start at the beginning. The first 4 episodes are not good. They're not alright. Episode 4 was like my drop-off point when it comes to the series. Like, I was not feeling the passion to watch the series anymore. But I stuck around with it, and I'm glad I did. Episode 5 is an absolute banger, and is probably the best episode of the entire series. I feel like it works character-wise, it works plot-wise, action-wise, has my favorite action scene in the entire show. It's just a fantastic episode, and you can tell that, they really put all their time and effort into that one episode. It's really night and day with the rest of the series. The rest of the series is just Obi-Wan wandering around with Leia and reenacting the first season of The Mandalorian. But unlike The Mandalorian, who's cool and capable, Obi-Wan isn't really capable until episode, 6. The last episode. But when he is capable in episode 6, he is really capable. The action... for him, spoiler alert, by the way, the action is really good. The Vader Obi-Wan fight at the end was really, really interesting. I do wish that the planet they were fighting on was a bit more interesting to look at, and I wish the camera stayed in one place for a bit longer, but that's just my opinion. It doesn't really match with anything in the prequels. The prequel combat is still the shining achievement of the prequels. But honestly, I cannot stop watching this action scene. It's really, really good. Actually, funny enough, before I actually finished this video, I figured out what was wrong with the action scene. And it has a lot to do with the score. There's a fantastic rescore by CineVore, and I'll put the link in the description below, but it just shows what good music can do to an already great scene, and what bad music can do to kind of dampen a scene. Another main point against this show is that Reva is not a good character. Sure, on the basis of, character development, she can be seen as an actual character, but not a good one, not a likable one, and definitely not one that you're rooting for throughout the show. Sure, she has a pretty cool backstory, but I mean, who doesn't want to watch more Order 66 going on? But that's just, Star Wars fans being Star Wars fans. We'll basically take anything that revolves around Order 66. Thank you very much. Yes, I know, Reva in Episode 5 gets really better. Not the best, but better. And I think in Episode 6, she has a kind of shining moment, I guess. But Reva herself and in a sense, how she's directed as a character, or how she's directed to act, is not very interesting. Reva is a very one-dimensional character until, like, episode 5, which really, episode 5 just changes everything. It's really good. But Reva is a very bland and dry character up until that point, and really, unless it's in episode 5, she doesn't really change that much as a character. I mean, we've all seen the Inquisitor girl turned good plotline. It's been done literally like in 2019 with Jedi Fallen Order. It's not something new. And I feel like this was kind of retreading the same exact plot that we already have. And nothing against the actor who plays her, but I don't think she was really fit out for this role. I feel like the emotional maturity that you need to do to play such a character that is emotionally complex and, you know, torn between two sides of herself, you know, I feel like that's very hard to act, and it always kind of feels to me like she's way too intense with everything. I feel like there should be more subtle, quieter moments in this story arc that Reva's going through. But the main question that was on my mind throughout the series was, is Reva really needed? Did she need to be in this Obiwan Kenobi series? And honestly, I don't think she was. It's very obvious why she was added. They need another character to make a series off of. It's, you know, just kind of Disney's prerogative now to cram as many series onto Disney Plus as they possibly can, but I honestly don't think I'm going to watch the series unless it's like, you know, Star Wars Godfather, where it's like, oh my gosh, this is the best acting, I'm peeing myself and pooping, oh, but it doesn't really seem to me like that's going to be the case. It's going to be another subpar series, and will maybe get better towards the end. I feel like that's a common trend with a lot of these Star Wars series, is that they're really boring until the last couple of episodes. And that, I think, is pretty funny. I mean, even with Boba Fett, I mean, the last episode had so many flaws, and it was so dumb and bad. But the two before that were really good, mostly because they didn't use Boba Fett at all. It was just the Mandalorian. But yeah, this series is boring up until a point where I feel like it has a really good climax. I feel like it should have focused a bit more on Obi-Wan and Vader, both as characters, and both have them grow as characters throughout the interaction to help them slowly turn more from their episode 3 appearance to their episode 4 appearance, and so on, so forth. It's alright. Oh yeah, and Ewan McGregor gives his best performance I've ever seen. Some of the emotion that he manages to capture in this show is genuinely perfect, and actually made me, it sucked me into the show and gave me some, like, emotional connection to it, because you can tell that he is really giving it his all and really is acting to the best of his ability. This is the best I've seen him in a while. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give this series, Obiwan Kenobi, 5 Ewan McGregors out of 10. It's not good, it's not bad, it feels really studio mandated, but I feel like it gives a pretty good story overall, and when it's focused on Obi-Wan and Vader, it can be a really fun time. But that's all I've got for today. See you, gamers.